right. So everybody, again, I want to welcome us. I think I've introduced myself. Again, my name is Blessing, and today I will be our moderator. And this conversation is what we must talk about. I was talking that today it's actually June 12th, and is we actually recognize it globally as the World Day Against Child Labor. So we are reclaiming something, and which make us to also enter another thing that's children are future they are going through that we need to stop, right? So why international agencies that we all know are gathering around global, checking a lot of things. Today we'll be discussing a youth development program that will also help us, that will help our children even to be a better person, even to recognize their dignity, to recognize their identity, and to be a better person in life. So we are gathered for a direct rescue mission of the future of Nigeria. So we are reclaiming the whistle. We are doing it together, and that's why we are here. We have to make the registration out so that we will know what we are going to, because after this webinar, we are going to be going to an advocacy even into our different communities. So this is what is important this time, and I know that I want us to know that you are not here for maybe a one-time webinar. It's something that after this you make noise about it, you will advocate, you will know what these children are going through, and you will know, okay, the challenges or the state, what's it called now, the problem that we have to face if we do not tackle it. So when society see a child street hawking, or the traffic, or walking, maybe children walking around the street, at times they see it as, okay, it's normal, right? But today again, we are speakers today, we do not call it poverty. In the course of our registration, I see so many of us in the question, we say, oh, it's because of poverty, because of this. But I want us to know it's because of identity theft. So what we call it, we do not call it I do not call it poverty, we call it identity theft. So it is a systematic theft of a child's educational life, their leadership potential, and their fundamental rights to be a student. So I welcome us once again to this webinar. Is going to be a great conversation. BRE, that's Bridge for Inclusive Education. We are welcoming you once again. Actually, this is one of its kind, and I really appreciate us for registering. So our goal today is actually very simple, is to hear about this identity and to know how to put in the red card. You understand? So we will be going as an ambassador after this program, to be an ambassador, to show the red card. So we want to equip us, we want to show us what to do. And that's why we put in the registration out. We selected us so that we will know how to be active in this communication, to be a referee in this talk, and also to blow the whistle. So again, I'm welcoming us to this webinar. It's going to be engaging. So because of time, I'm going to be welcoming the first speaker, and sincerely, you guys just need to get ready for that. You need to get ready. But before I introduce that, I want us to, this is just a brief rule, I want us to keep our mic muted, right? I want us to listen, and if you know that there are other persons that are registered, they are not here yet, sending the link to you, you can just forward it to them, or you can also put it on your status or anywhere so that they can join. So I would like us to be muted, as I've said. I think I'm hearing something already, and I would like us to actively pay attention, because after their speech, we are going to be asking questions. Anything we want to ask, we'll have the opportunity to ask that. So I'll be going calling the first speaker number. I request the brand to show the project the bow of our first speaker, so that we all can before we introduce Brand, please, can you project that? All right, see this beautiful lady woman here. So our favorite Christina Obuago, if I'm not correct, I'm sorry, is a Nigerian development and public health specialist, passionate about empowering women, youth, and communities. She leads advocacy campaign, coordinates youth leadership programs, and drive initiatives that strengthen health system and promote equity. Our work span promoting breast milk donation, combating gender-based violence, child marriage and HIV stigmatization, and advancing reproductive health and menstrual hygiene for adolescent girls and young women. through these efforts, she creates lasting social impact and champion inclusive community education development. Sorry. So with a warm welcome, this is our first speaker. I would like us to welcome her to the stage. She will be our first speaker today. So I would like us to welcome her with her emojis, with her everything. Today she'll be speaking on the theft of potential, understanding child labor as identity theft. So this session is designed to help us map the real world impact of this crisis. So please welcome to us to the podium the lead advocate herself. I call her that, Favor Christiana. Favor, please, Favor, the floor is yours. Please, can go ahead.
I've known, but thank you for bringing this to my notice. At least we learn every day. Thank you so much, guys. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you to Bridge for Inclusive Education and Youth Development Initiative for organizing this important program and also inviting me to share the space with such passionate people like you. So it's also a privilege to me because we're doing 3-in-1 stuff today. Apart from the Democracy Day, we're also looking at commemorating the International Day Against Child Labor. Before let me see if the slide is okay. Good, thank God. So before I proceed, I really want us, I like being realistic when I'm teaching. So, and I love the fact that what we are looking at today, it's something that all of us, we can't say, even if you're from the elites or you're not, you're in middle class. I think now the state of Nigeria is, there's no longer first class, middle class, and lower class. It's now just either you are the upper class or you are at the lower class. The middle class, they don't longer exist anymore. I don't know if you can understand that because of the way the economy is going. So irrespective of the level you are in, whatever I'm going to speak about today, you can't deny that you haven't seen such, because we're dealing with children. It's not just in northern Nigeria where I'm based. It's something you can see everywhere. It's so evident, like it's everywhere. And thank God Blessing has urged us to become ambassadors, not just because of this program, but as a daily lifestyle. So something we don't want to keep seeing. So before I proceed, I would love to ask a question. And please, you can use the comment section to drop your own idea. I want us all to think about a child you've seen, not your relative, but a child you've seen on the street. Maybe a little girl carrying a tray of granuts, akamu. Sorry for those who are not Nigerians, akamu refers to pap. Pap, oh, I don't know the English name for pap, but it's more like a series that we have in Nigeria that we give to babies, most especially. Think about any of these kids you've seen recently doing this under the scorching sun. In Kano here, we experience heat as high as 42 degrees Celsius. Or think about a little boy, 12, 11, pushing wheelbarrow at a construction site or even at the market. Or think about seeing these local canteens, seeing a child washing plates in a restaurant, and you can't do anything about it. So I want us now to use our chat, the comment section, to tell me, please, everyone has to participate. I don't like my session to always just be me talking, because I want to learn from you also, because to me, no one is a monopoly of knowledge. Like, no one has everything all. I have to learn something from you whenever we have a conversation. So I want you now to use the comment section to tell me, what do you see when you see such things playing out? What did you see? How do you feel? Please, everyone, let me do good use of the comment section. I don't have time. I know B Brand is on this call, Chukwemeka is on this call, some persons that refuse to rename themselves with numbers, they're on the call. So please tell me what you see, how you feel when you see these children hawking, when you see them washing plates at the restaurants when they're supposed to be in school, when you see them hawking pure water. Yetunde says she feels sad and heartbroken. Of course, if you're a human being, except your heart is made of robotic steel. If you're a human, you're supposed to feel sad and heartbroken. Chidi says he sees suffering and feel pain. Blessing said enraged. Miracle says, I feel really sad and my heart goes out to them. Miracle, that statement, my heart goes out to them. I'm going to flog you with the cane because your heart is not going out to anybody. Because if your heart is going out to them, you're supposed to take them off the street, but it's not your power. That's joke aside. That's joke aside. So now, for me, whenever I see such a thing, I really want to go back to the policies we have when it comes to child labor to understand how can I come in. And that's why I love what Blessing is doing. She's enlightening all of us towards this to see how we can also join to ensure that the implementation of the child labor law is actually um, fully implemented. Vibrant said, I was really a victim of that while growing up. I can share in that, Vibrant. I can. So today, I really want us to explore a perspective that is rarely discussed. I want us to see child labor not only as economic issue, but as something you should take as part of you. The way you feel complete when you wake up in the morning, your routine of brushing your teeth, your routine of taking your bath, some of us that do, and your routine of looking for daily means of survival. This is how you should also see the child labor. And interestingly, Blessing gave me a topic to digress, which is ending the identity theft of the Nigerian child. For me, the identity theft of the Nigerian child, ending it is looking at you stopping the denial of a child to the opportunity to learn, dream, explore, grow, and even become something. So those children that you've seen daily, they may never have the opportunity to grow. They don't even know what cup is ongoing right now, except maybe by peradventure they just hear people discussing about it. They don't even know that today is Democracy Day because they're not in school, but their peers who are in school knows about this. They don't know what an AC is like. I'm not here to make you so emotional. I'm just here to just equip your mind to see how you can come in, because I believe each of us here has a role to play, and that's why the ambassador mission is something you should take seriously. And I love the fact that Blessing made mention that it's a development leadership space. So you're here because you believe that you're part of the solution towards ending this issue we are looking at currently. So now, why the red card? I think someone made mention of red card during the introduction, because when I went through the project's concept notes talking about Project Identity Rescue to transform young people into red card ambassadors. So now, for me, I see red card ambassadors and ambassadorship program as, let's liken it to football. Thank God we have the World Cup ongoing, say yesterday, and the red card it's given when a player commits a foul. Yes, I watch football. I know some of you will be shocked how I get to know football. I watch football. I was also happy that South African got flogged yesterday by Mexico. So that's a lighter note. So a red card happens when a player commits a foul and the referee on that game does not negotiate, especially if it's a true and fair referee. So he or she does not pretend not to see it. They don't look away. They actually immediately blow the whistle and raise the red card with their hand. And what is the message that is being passed after this red card comes is being shown? It shows that this behavior cannot continue. And the same way, child labor is a foul against childhood. Liking childhood to the football game, and then likely child labor to the misbehavior that deserve a red card. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. Child labor to me, it's more of violation of child rights, violation of child dignity, and a violation of a child's potential. So as red card ambassadors, your responsibility is number one, aside from recognizing what you see on the street, which is this violation that takes place, you're also supposed to challenge them. That's why I said to Miracle that you cannot say you share, your heart goes out to them. How is your heart going out to them? What do? You're supposed to challenge them when you encounter such. I know not everything is money, but you using your voice, you can even take consent of assent of that child, because children can give consent. Take picture. Use it. We have social media that's giving us platforms as a way of our speaking engagement amplifier. Use it to speak about the injustice and liken it to the labor law that we have currently on ground, the child labor law, and then call out the government to say, this is what you promised us and this is what I'm seeing on the streets. what happens to the fate of this child? And sometimes I believe we all remember, because an adult you see today was once a child. So whatever way that adult thinks today, even if we say yes, as you grow on, you unlearn, you relearn, you choose, it's a choice you have to make, but you don't fail to forget that majority of what I become today is what I've been through as a child. Don't know if I'm making sense to you. So you don't expect that child to grow up as a sane adult. You don't expect that, even though we keep saying you're responsible for your actions as an adult, but somehow our childhood upbringing has a role to play in how we become tomorrow. So as red card ambassadors, it's a responsibility to recognize this and challenge it. You have to. When people see the phrase of identity thief, what comes to their mindset is criminal stealing from the bank, but someone stealing from your bank account, or someone pretending to be you, impersonating you. But the thing is, can someone identity be stolen without stealing their name? It's a question. Can my identity, Favor's identity, be stolen without stealing my name? Or can my identity be stolen without stealing my documents? I believe it can. Someone can take my identity even without taking my name, even without even taking my documents. It's because identity is not merely who I am today. I'm still going back to childhood upbringing. It's about who I'm capable of becoming. We are all here on this call. One way or the other, we've been shaped by things that brought us to this day today. The conversation with Blessing I had some days back today has shaped my mindset today. I didn't know about this app before. She introduced it to me. And this has shaped who I am today. And I'm going to use myself to shape someone else tomorrow. I don't know if you understand. So identity is not basically who I am, it's who I'm capable of becoming. So imagine a child being born with possibilities, a child that has dreams, a child that has talents, potentials, that has purpose. And this is what identity defines. Like, identity is all about your dreams, your potentials, your talents, your purpose. And then this same child spends years selling goods, hawking, or being subjected to child labor instead of attending school when necessary. Of course, the identity will disappear gradually. There's no hope. Honestly, there won't be hope. The identity of that child will disappear. The identity of him being a dreamer, of someone having a purpose, of someone having talent, gradually it's going to disappear. And guess what will happen? A new identity will emerge. And what's new identity? It's going to be a laborer. He or she will be a worker. He or she will be a survivor, depending on what they see out there. And that is why I describe child labor as identity thief. That's a simple way I call child labor. Child labor to me is what I call identity thief. It doesn't just steal what a child has. This thing actually it steals what a child could have become in the right way. Now, looking at Nigerians' reality, please move to the next slide. I'm taking the data from the Nigerian Labor Survey that was taken, I think, in year 2022. Yes, no, Blessing, the next slide is the place I had some data. Okay, let's start with that one. Okay, this is better. Thank you. From the Labor Survey, I found out that approximately 24.6 million Nigerian children between the ages of 5, just imagine 5 to 17, are engaged in labor law. What are the examples of such? People get married, number one, and along the line they give birth, and maybe they're working parents or working spouses, and they can't actually cope with the new adjustments, with the new expectations, and then the next they reach out to the relative or not, and asking that, do you have somebody that can help? And then the relative, that's where it pains me, because of this attitude of subjecting less than 17. I would say 17 is fair, because at 17 nowadays they already can make decisions. But you pick a child from 5, 6, 7, 8 to become your house help. I have a very big issue with that. I have a very, very big issue with taking a child less than 17 or 18 years to be your house help. And if you check, it's common everywhere. It's really, really common everywhere. And on your screen, you can see 24.6 million Nigerian children between the ages of 5, 17 are engaged in labor law. So just imagine that this number is larger than some populations, like in some countries, that some small countries we have around the world, and this number is bigger than their country population. And it shows that instead of children to be spending most of their formative years in a learning environment to nurture their development, they're looking at how to become something else that threatens their physical and their mental well-being. I don't know if you're relating with me. Most of you can actually relate to this. And most of you, I believe you have relative that does this. Me, what I do when I see any of my relative having a girl or a boy that is less than so age, 18 years, as a help, I speak against it. At some point, I even stop talking to them, because what are you encouraging? Would you want your own child to do the same? Would you want your own child to do the same? And it's explained as children, their days should be filled with laughter. Their days should be filled with hopes. Their days should be filled with dreams. They ask a lot of questions. Their days should be looking at how would the future matter for me. But that's not the case we have in 24.6 million children we have. Coupled with the issues we're facing in the country, insurgency, kidnapping. Now let's look at what's this latest kidnapping issue since May 11 that it took place. This Oyo State children they were even in school, and a 2-year-old was kidnapped, and now they've been subjected to child labor. And up to now, we don't even know what next is going on, aside from the hunters that were sent out to track these children that were kidnapped. What are you doing? How are you calling the government? We have a child labor act. What are you doing with the policy? How are you using your social media to call on the government, tagging the responsible authorities? Or what awareness creation are you doing for parents to understand that this attitude of, I know you want to help yourself, you want to adjust into the new life you found yourself, but the attitude of subjecting these children, sending them to work, it's bad. How are we doing this? Not just feeling sad. You feel sad is wanting to feel sad, but you can't feel sad forever because life continues. Well, how do you contribute that, at least, even if you know that that thing you're doing doesn't necessarily change the environment, but it contributes to something that will lead to something that will change that situation? How are you doing it? And one thing we all know, thank God we've all said some things, we've shared in concerns about this whole thing. Child labor does not happen, like it happens everywhere. Like it does not happen in a particular space in time. It happens in the market, it happens on the road, it happens it happens in the workshops, it happens farmland, like it happens in factories. I've seen some kids working in a mechanic shop, and I feel bad whenever I go to a mechanic shop and I see some children entering under the car. They tell me it's entrepreneurship, is learning skills. When this child is not going to school, when this child is not in a technical or science government school, at least now it's affordable. And the tragedy that comes with this kind of thing is we have stopped questioning this. It's normal. We've seen everything normal. Children selling oranges, we've seen everything normal. We've seen kind of we telling them that there's this phrase somebody always tell to me that life is not easy. So if you just come this world, you have to hustle. But I didn't ask you to born me, so I'm just trying to speak as a child. I never asked to be born. You brought me. I understand things are not fine, but why is my country not having good systems in place to ensure that if things are not fine with my parents or things are not fine with people around me, why can't I have access to good amenities? Why can't I have access to good mental stability? These are the questions I believe these children are asking, but they cannot ask. I don't know if most of us have seen kids that even know currencies more than you. They even know calculations of money. They even know how to price more than you. I don't know if I've met some. Sometimes I become so baffled, I become so ashamed that this child is not knowing what he's supposed to know at the right time. And then looking at the psychological impact, please the next slide. Please let's in the next slide. Okay, thank you. So looking at the psychological impact, one thing I told myself while I was preparing for this talk was, after being displaced psychologically, the leaders we pray for, because we're all praying for a change in leadership for this country, we will never get to meet them. We can't, because these children are also part of the adults we see in the next generation, right? And we hope that we have a change of leadership. We hope that we have doctors who will stay back in the countries. We hope that we have engineers who will construct things, scientists who will find a lot of new ideas or find these teachers who will invest their time to teach. They also contribute to the number that is reducing. Like if you're supposed to project like in the next 10 years, you should have like 10% increase in social profession. We might not achieve that because we did not invest in that 10 years back, which were these children, which is among the 24.6 million. We may never achieve that. And one thing this guy always says that I love, what's his name? This chess lord, Tunde Onakoya, he always says that talent is universal, because I was watching one of his interview where he was talking about why he had passion towards taking kids from the slum to teach them chess. So he said, talent is universal, but opportunity isn't. So imagine if we have all of us on this call are also Tunde Onakoya's mindset. We have that mindset in terms of, we know that opportunity is not universal. That is, everyone has a talent, but they don't have access, equitable access to showcasing that talent. And we say, okay, let me start making way to see how we can actually pave way for these people, these children, to actually showcase what they have, give them chance to showcase what they have. If all of us on this call can do this, I bet you Nigerians' resources will be better off. Nigeria will not suffer from what we call lack of talent. In short, people will become what we call the international exchange country. Instead of us traveling to do exchange programs outside, people will be the one coming to us to learn. So I'm just using this presentation as a wake-up call to the ambassadors in this program, because I've told you child labor is identity to me. It's simple as short. And one thing I've understood that whenever we do something, an action has a way it affects the economy. Yes, you may think yes, you contribute to the Nigerian economy. You do. If you don't move, if you move, you still contribute to the Nigerian economy. So think of the action you're taking that will have a good effect or impact on the Nigerian economy. If you think this child labor does not affect you, it affects you. If you think that if children miss their education, it does affect you, because when they miss their education, you never can tell if you will be in position to need their help tomorrow. And unfortunately, now we've had cases of hospitals failing down, people get admitted or rushed for emergency, and the system failed them. It's because we have less hands, we have less resources. So this is how they connect. If we had more children off from being child laborers and they had contributed, you never can tell. And the adults we see today that are leaders in their various professions, during their time as children, they had their mates who also were child laborers, and they couldn't join them to be what they are. That's why we're having limited hands. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So I'll keep repeating that we all have a voice, we all have a hand in creating a solution to this. And one thing I understood is, if a child misses education, they miss the opportunity to build their skills. And without skills, economic opportunity becomes limited, as I've just mentioned. And without economic opportunities, poverty continues. And when poverty pushes another generation into child labor, the cycle repeats. I'll go back again. When a child misses education, they miss the opportunity to build their skills. Without these skills, economic opportunities become limited. And without economic opportunities, poverty continues. And when poverty pushes another generation into child labor, the whole cycle repeats. So this should be a wake-up call telling you that child labor is not just a family issue, it's our issue. It's everybody. It's a national development issue. Have you not seen countries like Japan, China, South Korea, where children are being taken as like the eggs that have not been cooked? They invest their time in these kids. Are you not seeing the nation's economic growth? They contribute to it. So I would say this: Nigeria's future is not in the hands of the leaders we have now. Nigeria's future is in the hands of every child who sat in the classroom today, or who is going to sit in the classroom tomorrow. Me and you on this call because we went to school. We had access to opportunities. We're here saying things. So if you have more numbers out there not doing what we are doing, not undergoing the phases we're going through to become where we are today, we're going to suffer. We're going to collapse as a nation. So I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So the first step to make it, I know most of you may ask the question, how do you raise awareness? The first step to do this is you notice something. I just said earlier, you notice something, and for you to notice that, you are aware. You see a child doing what's not supposed to do on the road, or whatever you find yourself, maybe in an event, say a child serving, being a server, you are aware. It's simple as being polite as taking a step by trying to understand why that child is there, and The next thing, see how you can diplomatically commit yourself, because I know why I'm using the word diplomatically. Don't make them see you as you're not their savior. You're just trying to be a bridge to connect them to where they should be. So see how you can diplomatically commit yourself or become an advocate of someone who refuses to remain silent, to see how this thing can stop. It could be in clearer, simple understanding or scenario. It could be, okay, I want to understand why this child is not in school. What are the issues? All right. Is there anything that can be done? Like, is it that this child can't go to school? And then you encourage people. There are government schools around that in Kano. I think what they pay every term is 200 naira. They give a uniform, everything. These children can go to school. Encourage them to also go to government schools. We are not up of the same equal hands that everyone can afford everything, but at least we have systems in place that ensures that these children can have access to school. But some persons have tried to take advantage of this whole setup. And when we say the government is failing, they just want to also involve both what should have been done to contribute back to the government is failing. Sorry for that. So necessarily, you don't need a title, you don't need to be wealthy. The only thing you need as an ambassador is you need to have a courage. You need to tell them the effect of this whole thing. History is always being changed by when people choose not to remain silent. Yes, if you choose not to remain silent, your name will be on the sand of time. I'm serious. And how do we reclaim? Because I saw on the program title, Reclaiming the Whistle. How do you reclaim the whistle? For me, reclaiming the whistle is you spot, which you see daily. When you spot, you speak. When you speak, you signpost. You let them know that you've seen it. That signpost. You make them know that I have seen this thing. And you stay, you get involved, like try to see, okay, how far this thing is going. And then you try to ensure that there are available support systems. So now, it's now your knowledge to actually research, to read. Because if you are doing this kind of thing, you need to know what's on ground. You need to know where there's a gap. You need to understand, okay, what is the available policy document for these children? Okay, what is working? Where I am, like where I'm located, what is working? Research. Are these things existing? Are they functional? This should help you. I think one of the take home you should take today is I need to go back and see what works. What is working in where I belong, in the state I am in. Like for me now, in Kano State, we have the child protection bill, that's the CPB that has been passed. I think it was passed like 4 years ago. But unfortunately, it's not been full and strongly implemented. We still have the alamajiris on the streets. But you have that policy, and with the government, the new government, that's the current governor, they've put in place schools. They've innovated a lot of schools, and the only thing now they need is to push back children back to schools, encourage parents. Children should be in school and at this time, not out on the street hawking for you. So you need to go and check what has been done, okay? Because you're calling on the government, and what if you're wrong, calling the government in the wrong way? You need to know where you need to call the government in as an advocate. And one thing I always tell people is that if you want transformation, if you want result, you need to be consistent. You need to be very, very consistent. So in conclusion, I just want to leave you with a picture of you as a child being at several crossroads. When I mean a crossroad, that's a zebra crossway, and one of the zebra crossway that has like a T-junction that leads to different paths, which is one leading to education, one leading to opportunity, one leading to growth, one leading to purpose, and one leading to exploitation, and the rest you can imagine when it comes to exploitation. That's limited choices, lots of opportunity. So imagine that if millions of Nigerian children take the direction, like take any of this direction, that's either the good one or the bad one, this is going to affect the adults or the community we get to see in the future. So one thing I will leave you all with today is you have a role to play. You are the person who will notice, you are the person who will speak, and you are the person who will act. These kids can't reclaim their story without you being a red card ambassador. Just remember the red card position in football. And I know that we are also, some persons will tell me I grew up that way, nobody did for me, and that is why you are here. That is why you are here. You're supposed to help someone. That is humanity. That's development work. That's what it's all about. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Bless. I just hope I've not overused my time. Thank you, guys.
Wow, that I just love that. Please, we can just drop something at the comment section if you know this has really be. I don't know. maybe you've gained something from that, you can just drop maybe your emoji, just drop something. Want to really thank you. I just love that energy. The point is, there's a striking point there that this is not just for personal, it's not just an individual thing, it's a national thing, and it concerns you, it concerns me. So it's best time we know that, okay, this is not just one person thing. I want to really appreciate you, Miss Favor. I love that exceptional presentation. Sincerely, you hit the point. This is project identity, and we are reclaiming. This is a high time. You need to talk. You don't need to just sit down. You need to make noise about it. So, if you really want to get that potential, we need to make noise about it. I really want to appreciate you. Thank you so much. I know we'll still welcome questions, but I want us to take all the questions together. So I know that we have questions because myself, I think I have I don't know, because, but I do have a question. So please, Miss Favor, I don't know, you will still help us hold on. We have to gather the questions. We have to bring up the second speaker so that we can compile the questions together. I don't know if that's fine by you, Miss Favor. Please, is that okay? Okay, wow, thank you. So I know you will be like, she loves children so much, and one of that is just to make sure that they grow. That's one of I think our responsibility and what she loves doing. So it's okay. She was here, she's going nowhere. So thank you so much, everybody. I believe our questions, just write it down. If you want to forget, you can drop it at the chat button. You can just drop it anyway so that we can pick it up. So when it's time for question and answer. So this is this we'll be having our second speaker, and this is another time that we want to actually move into action. She has also actually opened our eyes to what we are missing now, what we are going to miss if we don't take action. If you believe that this is one person thing, this is high time we know that this is actually a national thing. You understand? We compromise our national development if we decided not to actually blow this whistle. So the second thing will be moving, and it's the place of advocacy, how the necessary step to take. You understand? I think she has touched that a bit, but now we want to also actually hear from another speaker. I would love B Brand to help us project that, please. So this is another section we are going to actually hear a brilliant. I don't know when she okay, yeah, I think we have it here. So we have this I don't know what to call her, but she's a friend and also a colleague. So we have Blessing Iriaka, is a journalist. Permit me to mention this. We worked together before, and there's something we do like maybe a presentation. We call it BBI. BBI means Blessing Bodude and Blessing Iriaka. So we are together. So Blessing Iriaka is a journalist and advocacy officer at Center for Social Awareness, Advocacy and Ethics, CSAE. Our passion lies in good governance, transparency, accountability, and the protection of human rights. This journey is fueled by a deep conviction that building a just society begins with strengthening governance system and protecting vulnerable groups. One of our current projects is expanding budget workshops across Nigerian universities into nationwide civic accountability platform. Looking ahead, she envisioned building a regional coalition against child trafficking and exploitation, particularly confronting the menace of illegal baby factories in Southeast Nigeria. Through the Green Academy, she hoped to sharpen my advocacy skills, connect with change makers, and scale this initiative. So, with another ovation, I would like us to welcome Blessing Iriaka. She'll be speaking on blowing the whistle, how to advocate for a child's return to school. So this section we give our actual technical blueprints, communication script, and also stakeholder negotiation. So please, let's, with ovations, with our emojis, please let's welcome our second speaker, Blessing Iriaka. Please take the mic.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I really want to say thank you to the organizers of this particular initiative or this webinar, the Bridge for Inclusive Education Foundation. Thank you, Blessing Bodunde, the Executive Director, for giving me this opportunity to be part of this important conversation as we commemorate the International Day Against Child Labor. And today I'm going to be discussing blowing the whistle, how to advocate for a child's return to school. Just like we've already seen in the intro, my name is Blessing Iraka. I am a journalist and advocacy officer with CSAAE. So, Favor has already said everything. I really don't know what is left for me to say. She actually did justice to that particular topic. But nevertheless, I'll just try to give us one or two things. So I want us to understand that when we talk about child labor in Nigeria, child labor is multidimensional. Okay, so when you mention child labor, don't just limit it to the children you see in the streets, that the street children or anything like that. You feel that is where it starts and ends. So it is really multidimensional when it comes to when we come to Nigeria. Now I'm based in the southeast. Some people are based in the north. Some people are based in the west. So we need to understand that according to your region, child labor is peculiar per region. So when you come to the southeast, it's difficult for you to see amajiris. They are not much here in the southeast, but you can see house help. The issue of house help is very, very peculiar to the southeast. You will see once a woman gets married, newlywed and everything, the next thing she gives birth, and the next thing you will see is she telling her mother in the village to get her a child not above the age of 8 or 10 to come stay with her and babysit her baby. Okay, so it's really peculiar here in the southeast. But when you go to the north, you might be seeing amajuris, children begging in the streets, and the rest of them. So one thing I want us to understand when we're talking about child labor in Nigeria, talking about whistleblowing and the rest of it, is that child labor is multidimensional. So we have street-based child labor, and these are the ones we see every day from Owerri. Maybe if you want to travel from Owerri to Port Harcourt, Owerri to Aba, Owerri to Enugu, Owerri to Lagos, or anywhere at all in Nigeria, there is no junction, no route you will follow that you wouldn't see a child hawking something. So it's really, really common and rampant in Nigeria. So street trading, hawking, it's actually a thing. Then another form of street-based child labor we can see that is also common is begging. And we have the Amajiri system that is very, very conversant in the northern part of Nigeria. Now, apart from street-based child labor, we also have the one we call domestic work child labor. Because sometimes we often overlook this one because it is done inside. It seems we see the one that is done outside more than the one done inside. So in the one of the domestic work and hidden labor, we see house help, we see children cooking. I think Favor mentioned some of them. You go to a restaurant, you see a child of 5, 6, about washing plates, running errands, and the rest of them. And then we see them as normal. It's a norm, okay? She's helping her mom, she's helping her dad, she's helping her aunt, so it's normal. But we should also know that this is a form of child labor. So I'm just trying to open our minds to the forms of child labor so that we won't limit our head or our minds to a particular one or multidimensional. So we have the one called agricultural labor. So do you know that it is child labor for a child to follow the mother to farm, follow the father to farm, follow the uncle or the grandparents to farm? According to the Child Rights Act, all these things are considered to be child labor. Okay, so there is this one called agricultural labor where children are involved in agricultural activities. You see them planting, harvesting, carrying loads, even allowed to apply pesticides and the rest of them, rearing animals, cattle, and the rest of them. It is a form of child labor. So when you see something like that, don't see it as a norm. They are helping. That's what we target. That's what the society tags it. They are helping. It is not help. It is child labor. So when we know these things, we can know the different forms of child labor, and when we see them, we can identify them. Because if just as we don't have time, I would have actually loved this particular session to be very, very participatory, and we are going to discuss and it will be very, very participatory. But because of time, I'll just be running very fast. So if we are asked the forms of child labor, some of us will just limit it to street children, maybe housemates, and the rest of them. And then these other ones, when we see them, it's looking like it's normal now. Why can't a child go to farm and all of that? Just have in mind that that's anything that is in regards to livestock, farming, handling cattle, extracting milk from cow. It's child labor. Then we have the other one called industrial and informal sector labor. This is very, very, very common in the southeast. I don't know for southwest and north. Maybe people there can actually attest to whether it is also conversant with them over there. But in the southeast, we know what we call the apprenticeship system. In Igbo, we call it Eba Boy. Okay, so the apprenticeship system, workshop labor is common in the Southeast. So you'll see a boy of 10 years old, 11 years, 12 years old, learning mechanic, learning one handwork or the other, being under somebody they call it Izwahia. You understand? Doing learning trade from someone and all of that. But when we see these things, it is a norm in our system. But I'm telling you today that this is a form of child labor, in the sense that they are trying to help themselves. We encourage children to go and learn handwork and all of that. But some of them are being placed under hard conditions. They are being placed under unsafe conditions, long work hours, no payment or very low payment. And you see, there was this viral video, I don't know if you saw it, the inhuman treatment the oga, so to say, actually, melted on that particular boy. So these things are forms of child labor, and this particular one is called industrial or informal sector. We also have the commercial sexual exploitation. But before I go into commercial sexual exploitation, let's talk about the hazardous and worst forms of child labor, which mining is one of them, scavenging is one of them. So you see children maybe go to dustbins or go to waste bins to go and be picking things, either picking plastic, picking whatever that is pickable. It is a form of child labor. Some of them might not be doing it because someone sent them to do, but because they have seen other people do it and they feel, okay, when you get these things and sell it, it's going to help us and all of that. But sometimes it causes injury. It causes lung diseases and infection. So it is also a form of child labor. Sometimes it's elders or elderly ones that are sending them to go and do that as a means of generating income for themselves. Now, in some parts of Nigeria, like in the West, this one is very common in the West, mining. You will see children being used, as miners in some factories. And the annoying thing is that all these things are illegal. These miners are not even legal miners. They are illegal miners operating secretly. Okay, so they will now use children. Children will not there are holes that they cannot enter as they are mining. There are some spaces they can't enter. They will have to bring children to take them down there to do those things for them. These things are really different forms of child labor that are operational in Nigeria. I'm not saying these are things that happen in other parts of Africa. So we also have the one called commercial sexual exploitation. Have you heard about child prostitution before? Do you know that child prostitution is actually in vogue in Nigeria, under your nose, in that your vicinity, in that your location, in that place you're living, without your knowledge? Something like that is going on, child exploitation, where they will often, force or coerce a child into sex work. So they will bring some of them. This issue is going on within families. You brought her in as a maid. And this is not somebody that is far away from you. This is a relation. This is your sister's daughter. This is your brother's child. You brought the person into your house, and you feel because they are poor, they have no money or anything, you can use them. You can use her for anything. And then you're sleeping with her, and then you're inviting your son or your sons to do the same thing. So this is child exploitation. We mustn't wait for the big ones to happen before we call it a name. This is child exploitation, child prostitution. So these things are happening under our nose on a daily basis in Nigeria, in Imo State, and other parts of the nation. We also have the one called trafficking and favor. We hear about child trafficking, where children at the age of 15, once a child is not up to the age of 18, is a child. Children at the age of 5, 6 that are being molested, harassed, or embarrassed, these are the ones that are going through child labor. No. Any girl, any boy at the age of 16, even 17, that is going through an inhuman treatment is undergoing child labor. So we shouldn't, because that's one mentality. There was a case we handled in our organization about an advocacy case of a girl of 16-year-old that was raped and the rest of them. Then the thing we were hearing from community members and the rest of them when we went to that community was, she's 16 now. Is she a small girl? Sweetheart. All those kind of comments that will even make you want to, do what you're not supposed to do, even that is against the law and all of that. So people believe that when we talk about child labor, someone that is at the age of 14, just because she's growing big, she has big this and big that, they feel, no, this one is not a child. Children are just those that are 5 and 6. It's a lie. Once she's not up to the age of 18, once he's not up to the age of 18, she is a child, and we must protect their rights. So these are the different forms of child labor that exist. There is no way you can start talking about a child's return to school without, touching these aspects or these things that are depriving our children of their rights. When Favour spoke, she talked about child labor being a form of foul against the child, okay? Likened it to football referees and the rest of them. Yes, the red card approach and the rest of them. So just like she mentioned yesterday, Mexico played against South Africa, and we saw how, for some people that watched, we saw how the ball went, although I'm not a football fan. But you know, when you're scrolling on social media, there's no way you will not see one or two that happened during the ball yesterday. When you're watching football, red card actually comes when there's an issue, maybe a foul play or something, you understand? And they are also preparing us to, you know, take this advocacy into communities, into take it to our stakeholders to see if there will be policy reforms that will actually benefit the children. And just like Favour said, you can't start fighting for a cause you don't know nothing about. You can't start advocating against child labor when you don't even know what child labor is and the forms of child labor. What are we doing? As citizens, what are we doing? As the government, what are we doing? As advocates and people who are maybe should I say knowledgeable enough, what are we doing to stop this? So these are some of the things we are going to be talking about now. So what does the law say? One of the law that Nigeria is signatory to is called the Child Rights Act of 2003. Okay, the Child Rights Act of 2003. And what does the Child Rights Act of 2003? When you go to subsection 53 of this particular act, it will tell you so many things that are in line with child labor. Okay, that will make you know that child labor or any form of forced or exploitative labor is against the law. So the Child Rights Act, and I quote, prohibition, okay, it says no child should be employed or work in an industrial undertaking, and nothing in this subsection shall apply to work, okay, done by children in their technical schools or similar approved institutions. Any person who contravenes any provision of section 1 or 2 of this section commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding blah 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 blah. Okay, I think I've not seen where I'm looking for. Employed to work in any capacity except, okay, it says no child should be employed to work in any capacity except where he is employed by a member of his family on light work of an agricultural, horticultural, or domestic character, or in any case required to lift, carry, or move anything so heavy as to be likely affect his physical, mental, spiritual, moral, or social development. Or employed, no child should be employed as a domestic help outside his own home or family environments. This is what the Child Rights Act of 2003 says. So if you want to fight, it's good when you want to fight a battle, you know the weapons you can use. So you now know that if not for any other thing, you have the Child Rights Act, which Nigeria is a signatory to. It was actually, compiled by the United Nations, but so many nations of the world are actually signatory to it, which Nigeria is one of them. So meaning that the Child Rights Act of 2003 is binding in Nigeria. We can use it. So you can actually sue someone to court, and then they will use the Child Rights Act of 2003 to actually, judge the case. So these are some of the things, some of the weapons we have to fight, or some of the red cards we have that we can show when such things arises. I think I'll just send the link to this act so that we can have access to it. It's really important. If you want to fight or if you want to be an advocate, you must really have a good understanding of what the law says, so that when you're doing your thing, you know that you have a backing. When you don't know what the law says, you're going to do it the wrong way. And even if you know what the law says, you can't just come to people. Now we are going to the approaches, or how we can actually take a child back to school, the red card approaches. One is to identify the problem. And that was why I was telling us diverse problems that we have when it comes to child labor. Okay, so you identify the problem in your own locality, in your region, in your state. What is that noticed problem that is child labor inclined? Is it children that are out of school, they are hawking in the streets? Is it children that are being used as housemaid? And like in Imo State, I can tell you now that one of our major problems is street hawking and house help issue. Is really, really common in Imo State. Everyone has a house help, and most of them are not treating them well. If you've seen so many issues or news of house help being molested and all of that, some of them emanate from Owerri, Imo State. The person that is living with somebody use iron on her, use this, use that. It's mostly from Imo State. It's mostly from Imo State. So the house help issue is on the rise, and people don't talk about it because they feel, moreover, the family of this girl or this boy, they are poor, and this one decided to help. What is our business? You will be in a house, you see your neighbor beating the house help, and you keep quiet because you feel it's not your problem. You see a man living with a girl that's not his daughter, even his daughter, they are molesting the child, and you're keeping quiet because you're like, waiting concern me. So this is what actually, this is one of the steps we need to take to identify the problem. What is that problem in my vicinity? What are those issues children are suffering from? It might be a child carrying something that is heavier than them. We saw in the Child Rights Act that it is wrong for a child to carry something that is heavier than them. So I want to give us a scenario. There was, when I was working with my former organization, I had my colleague who came to work, and she was very, very moody. And we were asking her what happened and all of that. She said she had a fight. A fight with who? A woman. A guy, she might be more than, but with her physique, she's placing her between the age of 8 and 11. And then this child is carrying a heavy, very, very, very heavy log of firewood on her head. And then when she saw the child, she was shouting, who gave you this kind of load? Why would you carry something as heavy as this? You know, she was trying to help the girl bring out the firewood and everything. Then the woman that was with the child from at the back now shouted at her, was now asking her, what is she trying to do? That if she should try and bring down that firewood from the girl's head, that she will be the one to carry that firewood for her to her house. That is she okay? Is she the one feeding the girl? Is she the one doing this? And before you know it, my colleague got angry and all of that. You know, most times when you advocate for these things, when you see them, you don't even have the patience of negotiating or talking with anybody. You just want to take action. And sometimes it doesn't work like that. In fact, most times it doesn't work like that. So advocacy is something that we do that has results. Okay? You advocate because you want a result. When you advocate and there is no result, there is not advocacy. And that is why people tell you some people are activists, some people are advocates. So activists are these people that have this, people like Very Dark Man and the rest of them that have this nudge, like, let's do it, na. And you know, if it's to scatter everywhere, let's scatter everywhere. If it's to arrest people, let's arrest people. But when you do that, what is the end product? How long will that particular measure last? So when you talk about advocacy is a long-term something. It might take time. You have to be very patient. You have to be very milk and long-suffering. Everybody was not blaming her. See somebody that went to go and do good. Everybody was not like, is it your business? Is she your child? Why will you talk? Is it and that was how she came back. Luckily, she was not beaten. But, you know, they shouted at her and everything. A nice person and all of that. So advocacy works with you identifying the problem. But when you identify the problem, it doesn't mean you should enter the problem immediately. Okay? So there are measures you take. Step 1 is identify the problem. Step 2 is blow the whistle. Refuse to ignore what is happening. Speak up, raise awareness, and draw attention to the issue. So when you see that, you might not be the one to advocate immediately because it might not be in your capacity to do that. So your own is, okay, I saw this woman beating a child for no just cause. You have your phone, you can take a shot of that incident, you can do a video. And then you now come to search. Who are the human rights activists that are in Owerri? Human rights activists in Kano? Human rights activists in Abuja, in Lagos? Let me send this thing to them so that they can start the advocacy. Most times, you might not be the one to, fight the cause. Yours is to identify the problem, blow the whistle, and then other, stakeholders can actually take action. Okay? So, first of all, you identify the problem. But now we are being trained. We are not being trained as people that will leave the work for somebody else. We are now being trained as people that will do the work. So let's say you are being trained as someone that people will call to come and fight the cause. So how will you go about it? So when you identify the problem, you blow the whistle. Refuse to ignore what is happening. Then the next thing you will do is to engage the decision makers directly. So for instance, that my colleague, when she saw that issue, when she saw that child carrying that heavy log of firewood, and then maybe she asked the child, where is your mother? Where is your father? The child might say, she's not my mom, she's not my father, it's someone I'm living with, see her at the back. You will leave the child, let her be going. I don't know if you understand. Then you cannot meet the woman. Ma, how are you? Good afternoon, ma. Well done. Ma, please, are you the one that gave that child the firewood to carry? She'll say, yes, so we are coming back from the farm. Today we were able to get enough firewood and all of that. Then the next thing you can go by is, ma, don't you think that firewood is really, really heavy? It's a lot, though. I was actually thinking wheelbarrow would have been the best option. Or, truck would have been the best option to carry that firewood, though. Instead of that girl, or even bike people. I don't know if you consider that. Sometimes when you get this big log of firewood, instead of this girl to carry it, maybe you can get a bike man who always come to your farm, carry your log of woods and everything and take to your house instead of her. It will even make you people carry more firewood than the one she's even carrying. You might see her be like, are you sure? I didn't even think of it, though. We even have wheelbarrow in the house, and I didn't even, maybe next time if we are going, we'll carry wheelbarrow. Brother, sister, you have solved that problem without shouting, without anything, but with just patience and being wise. I don't know if you understand. So sometimes advocacy does not work. That's one thing with people who do advocacy, more especially the activist part of advocacy. Our blood they hot. That's just the issue. Our blood they hot. You want to start, and every no. So you have to be patient with them. So when you blow the whistle, you engage the decision makers directly, respectfully. If it's an employer that is actually, maybe you saw a child who the employer is pouring water on, because they are learning work in their hands, they are doing apprenticeship work and the rest of them. You will not say, this boy, I'm going to go to your father's house. You come out from that shop, don't work in this shop again. This man is wicked. This man is this. The man will leave the child and face you. And if you're the only one that went there, most times you see these things alone. Nobody else to save you. If you talk too much, they will gather hand and beat you. They will not come and advocate for you than went to advocate for somebody else. So it requires us being wise, being careful, studying our environment, and going with negotiation. So when you see such thing, you speak to the decision makers. Don't speak to the child. The child doesn't have. If they leave the child wouldn't want to carry that heavy load of firewood on their head. So speaking to the child and making them know that they already know. I don't know if you understand. Just the way we adults have mental health issues, children also suffer from mental health issues. But sometimes we feel it's just adults that have mental health. So children already know they are suffering. Carrying that log of firewood, she already know that this is suffering. She knows that this woman is wicked. So you going to meet that child and talking to that child might not solve in fact, will not solve the problem. That because you just say, she will say, hey, my auntie said I should carry it now. You might even want to help her bring down the firewood. She will tell you no. That if you bring it down, that her auntie will beat her and all of that. And then you'll not be the bad person. Okay? So you can even speak to them with your church mind and everything, and then you hear them be like, who be this one? Now you they feed me. I better come up for here and all of that. And then you feel bad. So the next step you will take as someone who wants to make a change. Remember, advocacy is long term. That's what we want us to know. You might see a child hawking today. You might not save the child today. You will take note of it because you've identified the problem. Then you will go back home, brainstorm on best ways to handle these issues and start going. So I think I'll just go with the question I saw in the chat box. Somebody asked. I have some more things to say, but let's just tackle that. So when it comes to the welfare of the child, when relating with the decision makers, I think you really don't have, should I say, a say when it comes to the child's welfare. This is just the sad reality, okay? The sad reality. You don't have a say in the welfare of the child when you have not aligned with decision makers. Now, let me tell you something that happened recently. So if you're conversant with TikTok, you should know of a lady called Monique. She went to the village, picked a girl of 12-year-old, brought to town, loved this girl like her own child, taking care of her and everything. Then the parents of this girl saw this girl on TikTok and all of that and felt like, this girl, bring her back to the village. Monique said it's a lie. She can't bring this girl back to the village, that she has already envisioned the kind of future she wants for this girl, that she won't want the girl to go back to the village and be suffering and all of that. The parents of the girl insisted that she must bring the girl back to the village. They want her back. Monique said she can't take this girl back to where she'll be suffering and all of that. Before you knew it, it became a legal case. She went to human rights activists, she went to court, she went to Ministry of Women and Children Affairs and the rest of them. The simple truth they told her was, you can't do anything for this child, with this child, and be with this child without the parents' consent. You need their consent. You need them to say, okay, go ahead and take. So it's in rare conditions where a child is dying, okay, or the situation is something that you know that no, if I keep quiet, these things will spoil. But if it has to do with this case of this logging of firewood and the rest of them, it is child labor. The only thing you can do is to sue that particular woman or meet advocates who will actually help you take the matter to the right stakeholders like Ministry of Women Affairs and Children Affairs. You might give that child that clothes and the guardian will tell the child, you are not wearing this clothes. They will take it and burn it. You wouldn't have anything to do about that. So when it comes to welfare, if it's in severe cases, better when you see it, don't waste time. Don't say advocacy takes a long process, so let's take a long process. No. I hope that answers that question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Blessing. Thank you so much. I don't know if you've actually rendered it. I don't know if you can go into question now. You've actually answered one. Chidi, are you satisfied with that?
Okay. Anyway, she answered the question very well. I'm just trying to clarify my question. When you're advocating, can you refer to the child's well-being or welfare? Like, I feel like it's human for us to try to empathize or sympathize with children who go through this child labor. So does it mean, because why I asked this question when she was saying you first of all negotiated and kind of like create a soft landing, in a way to engage with them, to persuade them. So I'm trying to see. So does it mean, is it not worth it to like talk about it from the perspective of the child's well-being, what this could be impacting on their welfare, well-being? That's just why I asked the question.
Okay, I don't think I really get that question. But I don't know, Blessing, do you get the question? I don't know, maybe it's my network. I was struggling to hear her. Can you just summarize the question again, Chidi, please?
No, it's not a question. I was saying why I asked the question, right? I was saying it because when she was talking about engaging with the decision makers, so she was just giving us an example of how to engage with them, like at least create conversations that will that is not too confrontational, right?
Okay, yeah.
Just to create the soft landing for what you're about to say. So I'm just saying, is why I asked that question was to understand, was it not worth it to advocate for the child that will engage with the direct decision makers from the place of the child's well-being? Is it something that is not advised? That's why I asked that question. I don't know if you get me.
Okay, thank you. It's okay since she has answered. Thank you. I think I understand. But another thing is, one of the mistakes we made is I think this day we tend to make a lot of noise. We leave the right people. This day we forget to engage the right channel. This decision maker, you don't need to. There's some reason you don't need to really rush to them. I think we have another question here. Oh, this is okay. I think Adane, please, if the parents or guidance are proving stubborn, what must we wait for them? Oh, this is what I'm actually saying. If the parents or guidance are proving stubborn, what can we do? Must we wait for them? It's a question for you, Bless.
Okay, for the proving stubborn and all of that, the question by Adane, just like I said earlier, you might actually have, nothing to actually do in that particular case. And this is why I will encourage everyone to actually have, should I say, a relationship with the people who are stakeholders in your state. So, for instance, in Imo State, we know that when it comes to matters of children, matters of women, all these kind of things, there is a ministry that is in charge of handling it, okay? And that is the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs in Imo State, although they have rebranded to humanitarian, whatever. But that is the ministry that's in charge of that. So there are some cases that will come to you. You know that if you should go on your own as an individual, as Blessing, as Chidi, as Adane, you might not get the result you're looking for. So you just have to partner with this ministry. So that's why in anything you're doing as an advocate, you should always have the numbers of these stakeholders. So when it's getting to this point, just call them or pay a courtesy visit to them and let them know, see what is happening. Look at a report I got or see what I saw somewhere like this. You will see them. When government is involved, because now they're representing government. When the Ministry of Women Affairs enters or Children Affairs enters, they're representing government. And then when these decision makers see that government has entered into this matter, they will have nothing else to do than to hands off. That's just the only thing, okay? But most times also, it might also be difficult to get these stakeholders directly.
Okay, we have Dot here. Because I think Blessing is back. Please, I think this will be the last question. Any other question, we may have to send it to their various emails on something. So I have Dots. Dots, can you unmute and speak?
So can you hear me now?
Let's see if it will work out now.
My question, the first question is child labor a poverty something or a public health emergency issue? How do we see child labor?
Okay, the child labor is it an emergency case, or is it a poverty thing? Sorry, or a
public health emergency something? Yes.
Okay, I think I get that. Okay, Blessing.
Okay, so I will actually say that child labor is both a poverty issue and a public health emergency issue because two of them are deeply interconnected. Okay, but child labor as a poverty issue has its root cause when it comes to families, being the main drivers. But when it comes to public health issue, that is when these children are being exposed to hazardous conditions, like the case I talked about that happened in fire service, and the one of freelance campaigner where children are extracting milk. So my answer, to make it short, is both a poverty issue and both a public health emergency issue. Thank you.
Okay. And who should be held responsible and accountable if the law for child labor is only on paper and not implemented? Is it the government, the parents, or the child?
Okay, so when it comes to who should be held accountable, both the parents, both the guardian, both the government. Okay, since you already mentioned that the law is in paper and not being implemented, so you will be held accountable as a parent or a guardian when you are subjecting your child under such inhuman treatment. Okay, but the truth is that sometimes parents don't even know what they are doing. They don't know that it's child labor. When you tell a child to go to farm with you and then you place the basket load of tomato, corn, or anything on a small girl, on a small boy, and you're telling them to walk home with it, it is child labor, but you don't know. Okay, so parents will be held accountable. But in the same way, I think instead of talking about who to be held accountable, I think we should talk about campaigning and this advocacy, going the length we want it to. Many people don't know some of the things they do are human rights abuse when it comes to child labor to these children. So there should be more of advocacy. There should be more of this campaign, more of such webinars where parents will be enlightened. The government will also be brought to book to know, because most times we are not taking these things to them, so they are relaxed. So if we as advocates, as activists, as people that are enlightened can continue to take up these matters to them, I think things will be done. Some of the matters of taking to them, they replied. But the government we are running, the system we are running in Nigeria, they will wait for you to come. They won't start the advocacy. They wait for you to come. When they know you know your right and you come to them, they will always reply you. So when it comes to who should we blame, everyone except the child. Parents, government, everyone. But instead of blaming now, because we are looking for solutions, so if we start pointing and accusing finger on who to blame or who not to blame, we will not get what we want. This advocacy will not go a long way. So we need to get the solution, be a part of the solution and not the pollution. So what can you do to effect that change? So if you say government is a problem, what will you do to the government? You can't beat the government, you can't do anything to them, but you will have to take this message to their doorsteps. And how will you do that? Webinars like this. Organize things where the government will come, parents will have to know about it and all of that. Thank you.
For everyone, I want to really appreciate it. First, I want to appreciate our speakers, our two speakers, our Miss Favor, Christiana, and Blessing Iriaka, my BBI person. Thank you so much. Sincerely, it was a wonderful session with you guys, and also for the participants. Sincerely, there are some of the questions that we are asking. I'm just checking that. The reason for this webinar is because we tend to see that this is actually government thing, not knowing that this is our thing. At times we wait for this kind of long change to be made, like, okay, we make announcements, we make this kind of noise on social media and say, okay, governments are not doing this. Anything that has to do with child labor start from us. I think it was Favor that mentioned that's it from individual. Mr. Dota, I think that as our second question, he mentioned that who is responsible. It is we. Even in your community, why we are coming, the reason for this webinar is because we want to raise ambassadors. That even within your community, right, you can start being an advocate. When you see, at times we even walk around, we move around, and we see some of the children going through this, and we just keep quiet. So it's a case of opening our eyes, like letting know like this kind of role that we all need to play. Mr. Dot, please, may not be able to take your question now again, so please you can mute. We have to take it later. You can just send it to us or drop it on our handle. We drop our mail so that we can undo that. Thank you so much. So I'm just saying that it's our joint efforts. You understand? This is when you see a child. At times, the instant that Blessing made that child that was hit down, we had to quickly rush down there and make a case, because at times some person, they will just stand out, this is not my thing. At times you even believe that this is not my brother, this is not my sister, we are not related at all. We are joking with the future of Nigeria. And I think it's something that we should rise to together, make the change together, make the noise. When we see it is called International Day of Child Labor, I kept on mentioning that June 12 promises of, well, fairness, freedom, and unity. But can you see, where is the fairness? Where is the freedom? It was not quite, I think it was last month, the issue of these 44 children that was adopted with their teachers and all. And we kept on saying freedom, we kept on saying this. It is not. And I doing that, you in your community, when you see that, you can rise up to advocate. But Blessing kept on saying that you don't understand. We started first, and one of the things, we try to enter into the right place, the policymaker. If you make noise from today till 2046 and you are unable to enter the policymaker, you cannot actually achieve anything. So within your locality, within your community, you try making those little. To tell them, even advice, suggest to them what this child should be doing, this is it and that. I think one of my friend like that, she's teaching in a school, and the parents came to pick one of the student and said, okay, she is going to farm. And with wisdom, she was able to explain to that mother that, ma, I know that maybe this child had to help you go to farm, but this can he just stay for this period after the break? So please, it's an advocacy thing, and I really, sincerely, for me, I enjoyed this session. Even one of the things that I love so much is advocating for children, not even children alone, teenagers, like getting our rights, knowing what we should do. So I will say that, after this, we'll be sending us a mail. We send a request form for everybody to be an ambassador and some other information. So we are going to get our email concerning that. We already told us that we are going to be added to a section, what's it called now? A WhatsApp and other things, and we are going to be guided. We are going to go through a mentorship section. So, and most of all, we actually said we are ready to do that. So definitely we are going to send a mail to us. So please just check your mail. I think today, why most of us did not join is because most of them, they are not familiar with their mail. They did not check it, did not open their mail. So I want to urge us that please let's look out for our mail. We are going to send it next week. Let's just look out for that. And I really want to appreciate us for our time. And especially I want to appreciate our speaker, Favor and Blessing. So the referee that we are saying, so as I've mentioned, we are going to be added to an official YDI network, that's Youth Development Initiative, to also make this advocacy in our community. But before that, we are going to also go send some details to us on how to go about it. So please, when you see our mail, please respond, acknowledge it. So I want to leave this with us that we are not going into the field alone, right? We will be having a physical red card key that's going to help us, because what we want to do, we are blowing the whistle. We are going to make that noise and see that if you really, I think in the first question that Favor asked, some of us say, oh, I feel bad when I see them. If you really do, then you should rise up for them. All of them, some of them, they are going through a lot of things. Where I am in Imo State, every time when I'm going to work, I see this walking around. Some of them, like at times, I don't know, in my heart, I do cry. Like it's just not so good for me. And at times, if this happens to be my younger brother or something, even at times, I go for field work a lot. At times I interview them and they say, oh, because there's no money to do this, nobody to sponsor me, my parents, I'm doing this in order to sponsor our family, in order to provide food. Like a small child, responsible. Imagine a small child of 10 years or 13 years old thinking of how to cater for the family already at that age. No, it's abuse of their age. It's so abuse of their identity, and we should stand for that. Most of us mention our poverty, yeah, but I tell you, it's identity theft. Identity, when these children go, they don't even know who they are, they just do anything. So we are trying to protect their identity. So I will, again, we are going to be adding us to the our chats, the WhatsApp, and other information. We are going to get it from us next week. Let's look forward to that. And also, our details, our WhatsApp, I think our information, Instagram, and everything, and also our speakers today. We also have their handles, so we can check out for them. And also for this program, you can also make a post and tag us. It will be very wonderful, and we really appreciate that. Also, you can go to our social media, YouTube. Sorry, we actually have a post there about this particular International Day Against Child Labor. I told you that we had some interviews, so it's there if you want to check the video and also make your comments. So again, I would like to appreciate every one of us for today. Thank you so much. It will be an honor if you can do that. And if you still have a question, please just send it directly to our email at info@bieinc.org. I think it's on the chat already. info@bieinc.org. So you can send us any of your question or anything. And also our handles, we have it there. Our website is bieinc.org. So you can also check out there. We also have our YouTube. Any of them can be okay. All right, please, can we turn on our videos if we can from our hand? It will be beautiful. I have Praise. I know Praise can turn on our video, and I know Yetunde. I also know of Chidi. I also know of Miracle. I think Onye. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it correctly. And Mr. Dots. I would love to really see this Mr. Dots. If you can also turn on your camera. Sorry for that. So sorry. We couldn't attend to your question, but so sorry about that. All right. So, okay. I don't know what is going on, please. Okay, Chidi, thank you. We have Chidi also. Mr. Dots, can we have your camera on? Miracle, can we have your camera on? Oyi, can we have your camera on? Prince, can we have your camera on? And Yetunde, can we have just us now? Okay, so please, while he's doing that, for some of us that do not register and we are in this meeting, I will appreciate if you can send our details. If you know you did not register using our registration link for this webinar, because there are some information, there are some things that we want to do and want to engage us in, you can just send your details to our email. Yeah. Email again is info@bieinc.org. You can send your email address and your phone number so that we can send your detail or all those details and also add you to what we are doing.